just a moment for people to file in here. I wonder if I need to put us closer together. I'm doing a new setup here. I want the sunset behind us, but I also want you to be able to see us. So excuse me while I get us set up here. Let's see. Do we see you, Char? I don't see you. All right. I hate that it's crooked. This is gonna. My OCD is not gonna like this. Okay, let's try that. All right. If it gets too dark, get out. Thank you, LPS Pause, for jumping in here. Get out.
What's my name?
What is your name? What is your name? Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on.
The real Slim Shady.
Okay. Let me see if I can lock this in better. It's not letting me lock it in, and I'm not okay being not locked in. All right, there we go. That's as locked in as we're getting. I'm not going to get any better than that.
That looks good.
That's as good as it's going to get, yeah. My OCD's OCDing, you guys. All right. That's it. Okay. We are so crooked, though. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. All right. You guys are just going to have to hang tight really quick here. Because I thought we were good. We not. All right. If you're here in the chat, let me know. I'm sorry I'm messing with this. All right. That's as good as it's going to get. I'm giving up.
That is quite the rain cloud.
I'm giving up. That is quite the rain cloud. Hello. Oh my gosh. There goes my drink. Thank you. All right. Hello. So far we have 2 people here. I can't see. I can't see the chat. Hello there. It's Maddie. Hello, Maddie.
Hello, Maddie.
Thank you for being here. We are currently on Kauai. And hello to you, the strongest in history. Thank you for being here. I'm going to need everybody to behave in the chat because my mods are currently not here. Hello to you in Georgia. Howdy. Remy, everybody's filing in. We are here in Hawaii.
Hello, guys.
I am here with my best friend, Charlin Burdick.
Hello.
If you guys are familiar with me, I live stream here every day at 1 o'clock Pacific time as I live in California, but I am here visiting my best friend.
So, hello, all.
She just relocated here. So she's originally from California. She moved to Oregon, Central Oregon, in what year?
2004, May of 2004.
2004. So she is now living in Hawaii. Just made the change to the island of Kauai this year.
Yes, we live in South Shore. So we live about 15 minutes from Poipu Beach. And it is gorgeous here. Something to get used to is there's only about 10 degrees of variance in weather depending if it's night or day. And so it's radically different from Central Oregon, where in Central Oregon, it's the high desert. So as soon as the sun goes down, it gets very cold very quick. And here, it rains a lot. We get a ton of rain. It can rain 20, 30 times a day, but they're just little short spurts of rain, and it does not get cold.
My hair loves the salt air, and you guys, it's not really humid here. I think I expected it to be like a little more hot and humid here. We did go to Honapepe earlier, and it was a little hot there compared to the other parts of the island I've been on. Now, you just moved here. Give us a quick little 1 minute of what it was like to pack up your whole life and put it in a container and move to an island.
Well, it all sounds great in theory, but when you're in the thick of it, there's just a lot of unexpected curveballs in the whole process. It is a lot to pack up everything that you own and really just go through inventory as you're packing and saying, is this going, or are we purging? and we packed everything up in a 16-foot box. I call it the box, and we put it on a ship and sent it over the pond. And yeah, I mean, it's been quite an experience. Definitely a learning experience. And I will say, my fiance and I, we gave each other a high five because we're still engaged to get married, and that type of feat will either make or break a couple for sure.
Yeah, you guys did phenomenal. So they are mostly settled in their home. Her fiance Bo is very very hands-on. He's from the Pacific Northwest. He's a builder, a doer, a guy's guy. So his whole shop is in disarray, so he had to like move all his tools in his shop and stuff like that. And then, but Charlin's business is, she's a little bit of a digital nomad, living the digital nomad life. So tell us a little bit about your job being remote and how that's worked for you being in the new time zone.
Yeah, it's wild. You guys, I get up at 3:30 in the morning, Hawaii time, every day, because my day starts at 4 a.m. I have clients on the East Coast, Central, Mountain, and Pacific. So I navigate 4 time zones on a daily basis, 5 including my own. And whenever I schedule calls, I'm always thinking in their time zone. But yeah, it's crazy. The good thing is that my day ends at like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's really great. It's 6-7 p.m. Pacific time, and all the East Coasters are already asleep. So it's really kind of nice because I get the evenings just to ourselves to enjoy this beautiful, beautiful paradise that we get to live in.
So for me, it's been a little difficult because I do crypto, and everything kind of happens when the stock market opens. We might see some movement and things like that first thing in the morning. But for me being here, I feel like I'm so out of touch of like what's going on with the rest of the world. Like I wake up and I feel like, oh my gosh, so much has happened already. I've already missed a day. However, I've made my live stream, which is 1 o'clock Pacific time. It's been like, 10, 11 a.m. here. And as long as I'm on at that time, I feel like that's okay. I still have time to get the news in and all of that. But man, I feel like I'm so disconnected from the mainland.
Hawaii time is a real thing. It is, we kind of just live in our own little world. We're 3,000 miles in the middle of the ocean, and we're anywhere from 3 to 6 hours behind everybody else, and so we kind of just live in our own little bubble. But it really is great. Our days are long and they're beautiful, and it's, I don't know, it's different. It's a nice little piece of quiet life.
What's been the biggest shock about moving here?
The culture is a little different here, and I'm very much like, I love to smile at people. I love to say hi. I love to compliment when I see someone who's like rocking an outfit. I'll go out of my way to compliment them, and I just am friendly by nature. And so coming here, being who I am, smiling at people, saying hi, I get a lot of blank stares back. I get a lot of glare, and it's just not reciprocated. And so I have had to learn that part of the Hawaiian culture is, there's a lot of, there's a lot of white people moving in. And so I think there's just a lot of, I guess you could call it resentment. And when you smile, what I have heard is that their automatic assumption is, okay, what do they want from me? That's a haole. Why are they smiling? What do they want from me? And I've just had to learn that, that's a them thing. It's not a me thing. I just let it roll off my back, because ultimately I don't have any control over what someone believes, what they think, and what they perceive of me. And I just keep showing up and being me. And eventually, hopefully, they'll come around. And if not, that's okay too. Like, you do you, boo.
Yes. I think I feel that. Like, So we were noticing that it kind of seemed like on the resort, like you've got people who are here on vacation and they're excited and happy to be on vacation and they're all like, excited to be here. But then, yeah, you go into other parts of Hawaii and I think you kind of feel that it's not super, super friendly.
Yeah.
But I think maybe Bo, your fiance, was hearing from some of the locals that maybe it just takes time in establishing who you are and knowing, because you're a new face here. And how many people live on the island?
Yeah, so I've heard there's like 75 to 80,000 people who live here, and that is not including the all year long tourism that Kauai brings in. There's a lot of tourism, as with all the islands. This island, from what I hear, I haven't been to the other islands yet, but it is the least developed, the most amount of locals here. It is called the Garden Island. It is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It gets more rain than any other part of Hawaii. We get a ton of precipitation a year, and it really is just absolutely beautiful. We have the Nepali coast on North Island.
I did not make it up the Nepali coast. I'm a little sad about that. I'm going to have to make it on my next trip back.
Next trip.
Sorry, go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hanalei Bay, that is essentially what you think of when you think of Jurassic Park. I mean, just stunning, breathtaking mountains with like 50 different shades of green. Really the most gorgeous, breathtaking scenery on the planet.
My daughter is absolutely mean mugging me right now. She's so mad. She's so mad, you guys. She tried to crash our interview. She will have her own interview when she's ready, but she's mean mugging me, so I'm gonna call her out for it.
We love you, Moo.
Thank you guys for listening. If you're new here, because there is like 93 of you watching right now, you can smash a subscribe. I would love that, because I am here live streaming every day at 1:00. And this is my beautiful friend Charlin Burdick. I am featuring her today on the live stream. Char, if people are wanting to connect with you on social media, how would they look you up?
Yeah. So it's Char Burdick, Char Burdick, Burdick. And that's both Facebook, Instagram. I think I do have a YouTube, but I'll be honest, I have not been on in a long time. But you can definitely find me on Facebook, Instagram. I also, even though I haven't done it in a while, I do have a pottery business. Mm-hmm. So I do make pottery on my off time. I wish there were more hours in the day so I can get back into that. But that would be Charstruck Ceramics.
Charstruck. I love that name. I remember when you came out with that. Okay, so you guys, I have been friends with Char for over 20 years now. From where we were 20 years ago when we first became friends to now, what is the most surprising for you of our friendship?
That we're alive.
We weren't that bad, you guys. Maybe a little. So there was a video earlier today. We were live streaming going across this swinging bridge, and I did tell a story about how Char ended up in the Oregon River in February in boots, in the cold, in the frozen snow, and almost died. So, I mean, yeah, there is truth to that.
Bad decisions were made leading up to that.
Decisions were made. And
that will be another story for another day.
Do you guys see the sunset behind me? Let me turn it a little bit. Hold on, let me turn it a little bit. Do you guys see that? Look at that. It's beautiful, right? It's beautiful. Okay, I'll pan it back. Wanted to share the beauty of this nature here.
And we have rain clouds that just cycle through every few minutes. The clouds here book it over the island. They move very, very fast. So if we get a rain cloud, it will come and go in about 5 to 7 minutes. Then we get a rainbow, and then it will clear up.
The way the clouds will circle, in Maui, there was one time in particular I was on the beach, and you could see the cloud just rotating overhead, and every 45 minutes it would rain on you. It was the craziest thing ever.
But it's warm rain. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the wild thing is that, I call them the misters, because they'll come down and it's not even cold, so you're not even bothered by it. I have a little doxy weenie dog, and he hates being wet. It doesn't even faze him at all.
So, tell us a little about your business. I don't think you told us what you do as a digital nomad. Tell us what you do for your virtual business.
Yeah, so I am actually a health and wellness coach. I help people who struggle with weight loss and achieving their health goals. I have the best job on the planet. I never knew that I needed this career and I can't live without it. I love what I do. And if you would have seen me 4 years ago, you would have said, no way ever in a million years would I follow this girl for health advice, weight loss advice, because I've struggled with weight my entire life. As a young girl, I grew up in a household that was very kind of very chaotic and a lot of tension. You could cut the tension with a butter knife. And so I developed poor eating habits from a very young age, so much so that I walked into 7th grade at 12 years old, 210 pounds. I have lost 70 pounds twice and gained it back twice. And so this is my third time. I've lost 95 pounds 3.5 years ago. I've been able to maintain that by adopting healthy habits. And I just decided that, hey, I found something. And when you have typically always been the biggest girl in the room your entire life and you start losing weight, you can't hide weight loss. And so people were wanting to know what I was doing. And so I just decided to pay it forward, like my coach did for me. And I brought people along the journey, and it has blessed me. I've been able to make this my full-time career for, 2.5 years now, and it has been the biggest blessing of my life. I get to work from anywhere as long as I have phone and internet, and I get to help anybody who may be feeling like I was, because, I always say we are the most qualified to help the person we used to be.
So true, so true. So if you guys are new here, because there are quite a few of you, hold on. It's 119 of you. If you're new here, I actually used to be in solar. I was a data analyst and in operations and maintenance of solar facilities. So I was heavy on the data side, and then fell into cryptocurrency and investing, and started to have a love and a passion for that. And so I pivoted from a 12-year career in solar O&M and managing like 300 commercial solar asset portfolio, and the uptime and things like that, pivoting from that into working in cryptocurrency full time. And so now my entire career is just based around cryptocurrency, and can basically do my job anywhere, which is why we're currently here and being able to hang out and work together and take the time off, because that is one of the things when you're working and you are stuck in that 40-hour a week plus job. You don't have that free time in the available time. You're moving within this parameters of how much money you make and how much time you can get off of work and things like that. And to be able to have freedom from things that can make you money. And I think you and I both kind of envisioned that entrepreneurship and seeing that we could create a path forward for ourselves, and had to have both careers simultaneously for a little bit until we were able to fully launch into our own. And so, I think that we're living in this really incredible time where we're starting to see more and more of it. So, how within the people that you work with, how many people have gone from a daytime career to doing what they're doing with you full time?
Yeah, great question. So, I've only been, next month will be my 4-year healthversary since I started program, but I've been coaching other people for about 3.5 years. And I have roughly 40 coaches on my organization, and I do not have any full-time yet. I'm the first full-time. However, I always tell my team, this can be whatever you want it to be. And so I have a lot of people on my team who say, hey, this works for me. I just want to bring on my mom and my sister and coach them. I want to be able to, continue to pay for my order and bring on, some my closest friends and family. I have a couple coaches who say, "Hey, look, this is my retirement plan. I'm going to build this up and have a soft landing as I exit my career, so that I can keep that, stream of income flowing in, and I don't have to really kind of cut back and be mindful." And so that's the beauty is really, we live in a time where you can make whatever you want to make out of it. And I always say, like, find your passion, whatever that is, find your passion and sink your teeth into it and go for it and figure out a way, because with technology, with access, and with the opportunity that anybody has, you can really make the best out of whatever you want to do. There's really there's no limits. Like, the playing field is there, and it's really like the world's your oyster. So whatever you want to create, go for it. And it could just be something small, for vacations, or, to save up for a special trip, or Bitcoin, or retirement, whatever it is, send your kids to college, and just as something, a little side gig. But we live in a time right now where it's not smart to put all your eggs in one basket. So, look at life as like diversifying different types of
it's about diversifying your assets. I've owned a couple of properties, and I owned property pre-pandemic, and I purchased property during the pandemic, and so I've kind of rode, and I also lived through 2008, and I remember not 2008, but the housing bubble at 06, 07, and how that collapse really affected the housing market, and everyone really worldwide felt that. And so if you guys are not familiar, Bitcoin was sort of created as an alternative financial currency because of the financial collapse in 07. And so if you ever lived through that and you tried to take your money out of a bank, you couldn't get your money out of the bank, and it was really scary. And so Bitcoin is an asset class that you can put your money into, unlike real estate that has property taxes, it has maintenance, upkeep, it's got all of these things tied to it. Airbnbs were really big for a while, but there's a lot of things that are associated with Airbnbs. And so Bitcoin is an asset class that you can put your money into and hang on to and safely store it to plan for the future. And I think that's really where your and our mindset started to change, was like planning for our future. There was like a real pivotal moment of like, us millennials who lived through that major bubble, who went to college, who were told and promised all these things of, if you do everything right, you're going to succeed in life. And then essentially that stuff didn't happen. And we worked really hard to try and do everything correctly. And now we're at a point where it's like, you know what? We got to try things our own way.
Jump ship, abandon ship, and pivot, right?
Yes.
And it's the power of pivot, of saying, hey, is this working for me? And maybe it is, but what would it look like if we took this direction and tried this? And it is the fear of the unknown, going out on your own and you leaving something secure that even though it may not be exactly what you want or that you like, right? Like being a full-time career, but what if we take this chance on the unknown and it being so much better? And in my case, and I know in your case, it was the best sleep of my life.
Mm-hmm. So I know that you've taken a lot of like inspiration. You and I are both very into like podcasting, and that was one of the things that really inspired me. I was actually inspired through a podcast to quit drinking alcohol, and I'm nearing 1,000 days without alcohol, which is absolutely incredible. I can't believe I've actually made it 1,000 days with no alcohol.
Way to go, friend.
Almost here.
Way to go, friend.
Almost there. But yeah, Andrew Huberman, if you guys watch the Huberman Lab, he did a whole 3-hour segment on alcohol and how horrible it truly is, poison for your body. Changed my life. And so that's really what got me into like thinking about podcasting. I'm like, so much of my time is consuming alternative media on YouTube, because I can actually find things that are like of interest to me. That's not it's not the propaganda by the media machine
Correct.
on television. So yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So what my point was, who are some of the podcasters that you took inspiration from along the way?
Oh yeah, great question. Man, I got to give a shout out to Mel Robbins, my girl Mel Robbins. She's incredible, and a little backstory about her is she went to law school and she tried her hand at that. She hated it. And then, her and her husband, Christopher, they have 3 kids. They ended up getting in a bunch of debt. He went in as a partnership with a restaurant and it sunk. It was during COVID and they just lost their what. And she threw out a Hail Mary and she started a podcast. It is one of I think it is like the number 1 or in the top 3 leading podcasts of all time. It's called The Mel Robbins Show. Mm-hmm. She always has great speakers on that just pour life into you. So I would have to say number 1, Mel Robbins. I really am liking Elizabeth Benton's Primal Potential podcast. And right now she's got a series on consistency. And it talks about, the importance of consistency in whatever you do, because, that beats intensity, right? I mean, whenever we're going to do something like stop drinking or, go on a health journey and we're like, oh, we're all in. And it's like this all or nothing mindset. And that's what gets us in trouble, right? Because the minute that we lose steam, now all of a sudden we're all out.
Yep.
And so it's, show up, even if your show up looks like 5%, 10%, like show up every day. And her podcast right now is Fire. Oh gosh, there is another one. Debbie Neal Level Up podcast. She is absolutely incredible as well. And then the Ed Milet Show. And I would have to say those 4 have really just changed the game for me.
Mm-hmm. Mine are a little different because they're all crypto specific people, but one person who I think that I've encountered since I've been in crypto, because I feel very fortunate in crypto. I get the ability to be around people that I don't think I would otherwise be able to rub shoulders with. So I can remember 10 plus years ago being on Instagram and reading the inspo quotes from Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary Vaynerchuk has been in the game of content creation and podcasting and inspirational speeches for like over 10 years now. And so his little inspo quotes, I used to share those to my Instagram stories. And so he was one that just this last year, he started following me on Twitter/X. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like I can't believe that my passions have pushed me to this level of being able to meet these people that I would have never dreamed. 10 years ago, you'd have told me like, oh my gosh, you're going to be at his conference and meeting him and he's going to be following you on social media.
It's so surreal, isn't it?
But that's what following your dream. Mm-hmm. It's a very expansive thing to follow your dream and to start to see things come to fruition, because you know in your mind what you're capable of. And once you put your all into it and you have your passion, you start to see that all come to life. And then it manifests in such expansive ways in your life.
Oh, so good. So good. Yep.
And now, do you feel like your change over the last few years helped manifest this new life here in Hawaii for yourself?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I'm more open to opportunity now, where before, you can't be open to opportunity with a closed or a fixed mindset, right? Mm-hmm. And I was pretty unhappy for a really long time. I played the victim for a pretty long time, and it was, those things don't happen to me. Good for them. They seem to have it figured out. You don't have, what figured out. And when I started pouring into myself, I always tell my clients and my team, like, there's that cliche of like, you can't pour from an empty cup, but I like to view it as a fountain. Mm-hmm. So like, a fountain can't operate without water, right? And you have to pull up water through the fountain. So you have to fill your cup in order to pour over into others. And it's not until you do that that you put on a different lens in life, and you start being open and curious and childlike, and you start thinking about, okay, what if, if I could, how would I? And you kind of, you turn the dial a little bit, and you kind of fine tune the way that you see the world, and the way that you look out the lens looks a little bit different, and things that you never thought you could have done before, or that just weren't in your deck of cards, right? That's for other people. You start thinking, well, why not me? Like, I'm worthy. Like, I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this. And when you get to that point where you've got the passion, you've got the desire, you're in, you sink your teeth into it, then at that point, it's like, failure's not an option, right? You just figure it out. And so that was kind of really my approach here, was I'm just going to go and figure it out, because failure's not an option. And if you go into life with that type of tenacity and that type of persistence, you're unstoppable. The only way you fail at this is if you quit, right?
So 2025 has been a high year. What year was your lowest year?
Oh gosh, you mean what, decades?
Well, sure. Give us the low, what you consider the lowest, and so that way people who maybe don't know you because it's easy to look at someone and go, their life is great, she's living in Hawaii, she's manifesting, it's working for her, but that's her. That's not me. So when you were down in the lows, when was that? How long was that?
I would have to say it was probably 2021 was
the
a really
lowest low.
Was really, yeah. I mean, that was, and Julie knew her, but I had another really close friend of mine named Lily, and we were very, very close for 10 years, and she lost her battle with a blood disease. She was an only child. We connected, we went to college together, and that really rocked me. And I was mourning her death for 2 years. I mean, I went to what I've always known, which, emotional mismanagement 101 here. And I would eat the things, eat my feelings, drink my feelings. It didn't matter the emotion, happy, sad, anxious, bored, all of the things. There was a reason or a season to put food or drink in my mouth. And so I was in sales. I was in auto sales for about 5 years, and that, for anybody who doesn't know, as a female, that's not the easiest industry to be in as a female. And so I kind of dealt with a lot of riffraff there. Lily had passed away in September of 2019, and I just downhill slid from there. And
for a couple of years. So 19 was her death, but 2021 was the bottom of it.
It was the bottom. Yeah, I went to my doctor, and I got some bad blood work. I was 37 years old, and my doctor told me, you're pre-diabetic, Char, your cholesterol is through the roof. If we don't put you on some meds, I'm afraid you're going to walk out of my office and have a stroke. And I said, no, I know how this goes. I don't want the, Sunday through Saturday pill box. It gave me an opportunity to get it off. Actually prescribed me phentermine for 3 months.
I forgot you were on FinFins.
I was on FinFins, yeah.
I forgot about the FinFins.
And I took those puppies during the day, and I felt like my heart was going to blow out of my chest. And then at night, when they would wear off, I would go to the kitchen. I would binge, right? Like I always say, like, the work between your ears, that is the hardest thing to change, right? Because you could lose the weight, but the stuff between your ears, like that head work and that heart work, that's where the real change happens. And so I was really just putting a Band-Aid on it. And then I saw my friend post their transformation. I reached out and I said, I don't even know what you're doing, but take my credit card, sign me up. You look amazing. And the rest is history. I lost 8 pounds my first week. I felt amazing. I felt like a freaking Vicky's Secret supermodel. I'm like, why are they not calling me? Why are they not hitting me up saying, hey, we want you to be a centerfold? I mean, I felt incredible. 17 pounds down my first month. I lost 70 pounds in just over 6 months. And, my whole journey has not been linear. You got a lot of unlearning and a lot of healing to do when you've dealt with being obese your whole life. And so it has not been a linear journey, but it has been so worth it. But to answer your question, it was a few hard years.
A few hard years. So, yeah, I echo that. I think, I had hard years also. There were good years and bad years, right? Like,
correct.
I was married and marriage was okay, and I had kids and we had a home. Our home was beautiful. We had nice cars. But my brother passed away, and then
I remember that.
Because of the depression of my brother passing away, I started to realize all the cracks in my marriage, and and things were just very heavy, and I went through divorce, and then in 2020 my daughter got sick. She got really sick with swelling of the brain, and then she had seizures for years after that, and life will rock you. It will rock you. And
I remember that was hard season.
But we went through it, and you get on the other side, and now here we are. We're in Hawaii talking to you guys, living the dream life that we really wanted for ourselves. That we said, we're not going to accept anything but what we want.
Correct.
We will say no to everything that isn't what we envision for ourselves.
Yeah. It's okay to be in a season of no if you're in a season of right for your own goals and for your own desires. Be aligned with your vision, with your dream, with your goals, and then anything that is not part of that is a season of no. And that's what it's about.
It is, yes. Well, I think we will wrap it up there. And I'm so happy I got to chat with you.
Yay, thanks for having me.
We'll have to do another one because I do my regular live stream show. And I've started to have guests on my live stream show. And so I could have you on the show as an actual guest where I do my intro, introduce you to all my moderators, but it has to be at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time because that's when I live stream, you guys. So if you're new here, smash a subscribe because I will be back at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And this is Charlin Burdick. Give her a follow.
Hey,
She's
guys.
over on Facebook, The Crack Book, Instagram. Yep. What else you got?
Facebook, Instagram.
We're gonna get her on the tube.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little lagged. I'll show up. I'll slide in at some point, but for right now, I'm going with what I know, right? And I'm locked in. So you can find me at Char Burdick, CharBurdick.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you
Have
all
a good night,
for
guys.
tuning in. All right. We will see you on the next one.